morning, everyone, and welcome to the PivotBoss pre-market video for Friday, August 22nd, 2025. I am Frank Ochoa, aka PivotBoss. Happy Friday, everyone. Here's a look at the ES in the daily time frame. Nice rejection here developed at the previous session's low, really at two-day lows here at just ahead of the London Open. Nice strong low and a bounce back. That's pretty significant there, but it really hasn't gotten us back to the middle of the key range, 63.54. That was the thought here when we were giving up the upper end of this key range here, was that we would fall back into that 63.54 level. That's a key level now, and if a failure occurs there, we open up a rotation back to the key range low. In that scenario, we would still be looking for a trap and reversal back up the range down the way. But right now, again, all eyes on Fed Chair Powell, 9 a.m. Central. Fed Chair Powell speaking here. That could move the market tremendously here today, especially after the previous session's inside day formation, a digestive day, bunch of energy built up in this pattern here. We could have a big time move out of this range. If we fail through 63.60, that's going to open up a stop run day down. If we push to the upside here and rally, that opens up a continuation back to the upside, very similar to kind of this day or this day following prior day weakness, for example. So again, this market could see some movement here today. 80 to 100 points of range could be in play today if we get expansion from this range. Can we get below 63.60? Can we get through 64.20? That's going to open up some big time movement up ahead. Failure to do so, again, keep an eye on Wednesday's key range, because failure to get out of that range keeps us within the boundaries, building energy heading into next week. All right, looking at the NQ. Similar price action here, the previous session, inside day, a digestive buildup. Not your typical inside day compression. This was a nice wide impulse move that developed here on Wednesday, set the edges for Thursday. We have a range that's still containing the boundaries of current price action at the moment. We like the ES. This one also got a nice rejection here at the previous session's low ahead of the London Open here, and we're currently within the boundaries of that Wednesday key range. Now, if there's a failure through the lows here, that really opens up some downside into the lower key range. We start to break through the upside, that opens up some upside as well. So we got a very, very tightly coiled range here that's still developing, that could provide a tremendous move on a one-day basis. Can we get that movement here today? Again, Fed Chair Powell, 9 a.m. Central, that could provide the boost. We're currently trading precisely at the center between these two extremes, which tells me here the market just waiting and seeing here. Do we see a downside continuation and risk off, or do we see a bounce back within the range? So right now, building energy within this range. 400 to 500 points of range could be in play today on the high end. Looking at crude oil, this one right now up modestly at the moment. Let's bring it back a little bit here. You can see the lows 61.40 this week, and we've quietly pushed up, filling the rollover gap, but we're still within that range. You know, we really haven't gone anywhere. Over the last couple of weeks, we've been in a 2-point range for the most part, and we're retesting 64s now. One thing we've noted before, if we can get back above 64, you now have that range right here, this prior range, and you have this smaller range that's developed below that 64. If we can get through 64, that'll open up the move back towards 70 to 72. Again, even if we were to see that type of move play out in September, that could precede a December decline. So again, watching to see if we can get through that 64. A failure at 64 and we're still hunting lower, and 58s could be below. That 58.20 FOMC key level still left untouched. Looking at gold futures, this one's down about 0.4% right now. Still trapped in the chop zone. This is something we noted as of last week. Last week really on that day right there, when price pushed back below 3,400, I noted that we're now in the chop zone between 3,300 and 3,400. And since that day, you can see back and forth in here. No real directional conviction, except for modestly down. and that's showing today as well, as this thing's working its way a bit lower, but at the same time we could kind of chop back and forth. Now if we're through 3350, that opens up the lower half of this zone into 3300. That would provide likely another buying opportunity back up. So still in the chop zone here for GC as this thing continues to build energy. Looking at the YM's up about 1/3 of 1%, 0.3% here. This one's built tremendous energy at these highs. Previous session here, you could see off the lows back up. You have that compression that's continued to build out at these highs. You're a little bit of expanding range here, so that heaviness, does it lead to a bit of a risk-off move to the downside? That low right there is going to be very important. If you start to push through that low, it opens up 43.2, 43K, 43.4 right in that zone below that pivot low. So we could be looking at a drop right into that area if we fail. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7-day compression right now. How do we end the day? Again, we're kind of right at the center of this range and not really tilting our hand either way. Still an uptrending market overall. Nothing would surprise here today in either direction. So again, if we do get a high range move, we're looking at 600 points and maybe as much as 700 points of range if we really get going here. So again, can we get expansion out of this range for the next big move? Could be to the upside. You failed through this low and we're back into the range below. So watching to see which way we might play out today. Looking at Bitcoin futures here, down about 0.1% at the moment. You can see again this one still stuck in this larger range here and coming toward the bottom end of the range. This thing has been mostly expanding in this way right here, and we're currently at the low end of the range. Again, what we've noted before is 110 to 112 is the big time zone here to watch for a bounce back up within the range. And if you fail at 110, you open up the 95 to 100 zone. I've noted before here recently over the last week that if we get a meaningful pullback here, perhaps as deep as 95K, that could provide the next major 50% rotation to the upside. So being patient on this next rotation. How deep can we go over the next 5-6 weeks? But again, that starts with a break at 110. You start to breach 110, it opens up a drop. That could provide a tremendous trap and rally into Q4 if that plays out. For right now, keeping an eye on this edge at 112. Looking at ETH. Right now, ETH also showing a bit of heaviness here at the moment. Pullback over the last week of trading. Small 4-day compression here. Recently, we had a 4-day compression that led to a big time squeeze. Do we get a similar play out of this here up ahead? Perhaps we might have one more rotation. Again, all-time highs right there, recent highs right there. So we got this close to getting all-time highs. Can we get one more move that pushes us through 4,400 and opens up new all-time highs into 5,000, maybe 5,200 before we pull back? So again, great 4-day range, very similar to back here. Can we get that expansion to the upside? If not, again, how much pullback do we get? Now, for those of you in my trading room, you know that we have just identified the next long-term target for ETH, which could provide the next double if price rotates back into our key level. If you're looking for that idea, again, links in the description below for joining our trading room. The next big double could be ahead for ETH, and we're already lining that up. So again, big time potential here coming up for Q4. Can we get a move into that lower level that can provide the upside target? So looking for that up ahead. All right, that is it for now. Happy Friday. Please be sure to like, share, and subscribe. Have a fantastic weekend, and I'll see you in the trading room. Take care.